Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. This is the weekly landscape walk-around video that I'm going to do during the entire season this year. Just showing you some of the things that I put in the ground last year and just the overall landscaping as it's maturing and that I'm adding to it. Stonework, fences, all kinds of things like that. I didn't get a lot of stonework done this week. I did finish the fence along the driveway. You'll see that in just a minute. In last week's video, I introduced a local giveaway for some autumn starburst Encore Azaleas, one each to 3 people. I'll probably give each of those folks a bonus plant as well. At the end of the video, I'll announce those 3 winners. The autumn sunburst and autumn starburst area where I have those 2 planted in the backyard is now fully open. You can see that behind me. So this week has been a week of planting vegetables and perennials and annuals out front, and I got stuff laying everywhere. So let's get started looking at it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the plants that are along both sides of the fences. If you want to go back and look at the videos from the last couple of days, I've planted a lot of perennials and annuals along those fences, and tons more going in. The one thing I have accomplished this week is I got this side of the fencing done, and I'm moving now to the fencing on the back line in the backyard will be the next woodworking project I'm working on. Everybody knows the price of lumber right now is kind of out of control, so I'm just going to kind of pace myself on these wood projects and hope that at some point the price drops a little bit. All of these bricks from this brick wall I've got to get moved. They're going to be used on the back fence, hopefully to keep the rabbits from digging under. Let's see what's new this week that I haven't shown in these weekly updates. The snapdragons are finally fully open. They're getting mid 80-degree days now, so it won't take long for them to actually burn out if I get up toward 90s, but they're pretty spectacular right now. The all yellow on this side was not at all planned. Of course, it was a mix, and somehow the yellows all gathered themselves on one side, which is kind of funny. I did this container planting in a video last week. I've moved it out here to the front, and here's that all chartreuse container that I had done in the fall by tree forming that gold mop cypress. My sweet viburnum have not started to open up yet, but they are budded here, and won't be long before they're showing some flowers. I know folks down in Texas, these really took it hard down there. Let's see what else is out here. All of these perennials and annual things that are planted in here were in a video 2 days ago. This viburnum back here is Viburnum luzonicum. This is snow joey. Is this variety, if you're unfamiliar with Viburnum luzonicum. The flower smells almost so sweet. It's not a great smell, honestly, but it blooms like crazy like this, and a little longer bloom than some of the other viburnum in the spring, and then it gets incredible red fall color and red berries on it in the fall. This plant gets pretty big, and it makes absolutely no sense that it's sitting where it's sitting, other than the fact that at some point that wall right there that I'm pointing at is going to be gone. Those azaleas are going to be gone, and this is going to be a front porch all the way across the front of this house, and that becomes the corner piece for that front porch. But that's a project probably for next year. Other things that got planted this week. There's a couple hosta that went in out here. Again, you can go back and look at videos from earlier in the week. And I said in that video, these hosta, the first year you put them in the ground, won't do a whole lot of growing. It's when they wake up that second year that they'll really take off. Oak leaf hydrangea right here really starting to show signs of, showing some color and that inflorescence in the next couple weeks here. Miss Kim lilac is done. It did last a little longer this year. We had nice cool weather for a couple weeks, and I got about 2 weeks out of it. Again, I'm going to be doing some pruning on that Miss Kim lilac very soon. Then there were some other perennials and annuals planted out here if you want to go back and look at those. Let's move to the backyard. I'm on the south side of the house, and I hang this hummingbird feeder in this red bud that just kind of dominates this space. This was a seedling red bud, just a native red bud. I've already had hummingbirds in the yard, and a lot of my summer flowering things haven't gotten started yet. So I've got the feeder up for now. Again, I've planted several more variegated hosta across the yard. I'll cover those in some other perennial videos later. This was the green Daphne that I planted a month and a half ago, and it's put on a ton of growth. That's about all the growing it will do in a season. I've got a Hydrangea going in next to it, and then I thought you'd be interested in this calla lily that's throwing up a flower here. This is not something I had shown that I had put in, but coming back nicely and throwing up a flower already. Ooh, look at this. One of the gardenias is about to start opening up some flowers. It's usually May for me in my area when those start doing their thing. There's some blue salvia that came back. This is one of those that can be, I do them from seed. They're over here in this tray right there that I'm putting some more in. But this is one that can sometimes come back and sometimes not. And I had a mild winter, and it's about to flower already. The blue pansies and the Hydrangea I showed in the last walk around video, still looking great together. The tree form Encore Azalea is now full on. It's not quite. It's got lots of buds that haven't opened yet, but looking pretty good. Okay, I'll slide across. Here's another variegated hosta that I just put in. Another Hydrangea that's going in the ground. And again, there's just a ton of planting going on in this landscape. So please follow along so you can see some of the things that I'll be adding here in the next couple of weeks. I've got some pentas in this tray that are going to fill this area up. Agapanthus went in the ground. Several groups of agapanthus that went in the ground in the videos this past week. My Dear Dolores hydrangea back here is starting to flower. I'm stepping over things to get there. There's one that's opening up here. It'll get bluer as it opens up, and you can see the crazy amount of buds that are on it. So this is good. I get the early flower on this one, and this is a remontant variety, meaning it will bloom again on new growth later in the summer as well. What else is happening back here? My white wedding hydrangeas have jumped out and are really putting on some growth. That first season last year, they were pretty root bound when I planted them, and sometimes, this is just something to know. If something is root bound, a little bit stressed in the container when you're putting it in the ground, it won't do much. They did bloom beautifully, but they didn't do any growing, and so now they've gotten themselves anchored in over the winter, and now they're really putting on some growth. Let's see. I had made a bit of a mistake on my Touch of Gold holly last year. I planted it here, and it was solid gold, and I planted those hibiscus back here, and those hibiscus flopped onto it, and it greened it up. And I mean, it was solid green because it was in nothing but shade. And here it is with sunlight on it, and all the new growth is coming out gold. I think about another week, 2 weeks, that thing will be solid gold again, which is what it was supposed to be when I planted it. This area now is just kind of full on. The pansies looking great, the sunburst azaleas and the starburst azaleas. And again, stick around right to the end here, and I'll tell you who the 3 winners of the starburst azaleas are for the local giveaway. Got some other salvias being planted into this space. My Miss Lemon abelia in the spring. Wow, does this thing look? Is it super showy? It won't start flowering until mid to late May. And then here's a container that I did with a variegated boxwood in it, and several other things. That container video went up a week or 2 ago. coming around this area. I got to get these marigolds in the ground. I'm going to do that today. They're going around the weeping redbud, the Golden Falls redbud. Leaves on the Golden Falls redbud are starting to get larger each week that I show this. But those leaves will end up about 4 to 5 inches across eventually. And then here's peonies, starting to get shadowy out here. But here are peonies that I had moved last year. These are single pinks, and I've got other varieties in here as well. Some that I had planted, and some that I had bought and planted, and some that I had transplanted from around the yard, but they're finally getting going now. Let's see, what else do we have? What else is interesting right this minute? This particular hosta that came back in this spot, this is another example. I planted this one as a 4-inch pot this time last year, and it basically did nothing during the year last year, other than, I mean, it looked great, but it didn't grow any. But now it's coming back, and you can see how much bigger season over season versus those ones you saw in the front yard. My Marvel Mahonia, which bloomed like crazy this winter, is now got the seeds forming right in there. The birds will eventually take those once they turn completely purple. The turf is finally greening up. I haven't mentioned that from the front yard or the backyard, but now we're getting days in the 80s, and the turf, the zoysia grass is waking back up. I put a barberry into this space, which is one that's being released next year. It's called Luton Rouge. Really great new color on this one. I'll show it to you as the season progresses. Again, it's one that's being released next year. Everything back here is looking pretty good. Didn't make any progress on the stones. A lot of the rest of the boulders that are in the front out by the road are actually going in areas along the edges of these beds, so I can pull a water hose back here and not have the water hose go into the beds. I'll show you that. That'll be done next week. Over here in this little, I get this little sun strip every morning. It makes it hard to shoot over here. But there's dianthus are full flowered now. If you've watched the videos this week, you know I've planted tomato plants, pepper plants are in the ground outside in this area, and all the other cool season vegetables look fantastic. I've planted peppers directly into the broccoli as well. So, you know, broccoli will come out here in the next few weeks, and the peppers will take over that space. Same thing over here. There's tomatoes planted right here along the side of the lettuce. Here's holly on the back porch, and I love how this little section just to the right of the porch has developed. I got this Dragon Prince cryptomeria in this container, and I still have the palm in that container. I broke the container, and so I put some of the lemon coral sedum that will just come down over it, and then the begonias, the red begonias are in there with it, and that variegated Daphne that I planted earlier in the season is right there. There's a green sedum to kind of contrast that gold sedum. The sunshine ligustrum, which needs a haircut, looking fantastic. And then as you come around this way, there's some leucanthemum that these won't be long. These will start blooming, I think. You know, with the new growth I see on them right now, they may be blooming here in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So again, guys, thanks for following along. This is one of the autumn starburst Encore Azaleas that will be picked up by one of the 3 winners. The 3 winners are Billy Rogers, Arena A, and Brenda Thomas. And you can email me at horttube@gmail.com, and I'll get you, we'll get set up so you can come by and pick up the azaleas. I probably have a bonus plant for you as well. I also have several other things I'll be doing this on for a few other local giveaways. I've got some Stella Ruby magnolias that I'll announce that pretty soon that I'm going to give away as well. And hopefully not everybody, other people in other areas don't feel excluded, because I'll have some giveaways for everyone very soon. Thanks for watching.